Alrighty, so all the game from match week number 10 have just finished, as this game have just finished a couple of minutes ago. And in terms of the Sunday action, well, if you like goals, today was not the day for you because there was only one score here, and there could have been one score here if it wasn't for a late goal by Nashville to win 2-0 in this one against RSL, which we'll get to it. But let us begin with the first game, which is between the Vancouver Whitecaps and Toronto FC. And by the way, since there's only 3 games, I'm actually not going to be doing the timestamp for this video because I expect this video to be roughly about 20 minutes long. But yeah, let's talk about the first game between the Whitecaps versus TFC. And there was definitely controversy in this game. And once again, this was another game similar to the game between the Quakes versus the Rapids that the away team have every rights to be angry. And this time, it's Toronto FC who they definitely have rights to be angry because they had a goal that was chopped off that probably shouldn't have been chopped off. So in the first half, Bono was able to deny Caicedo from close range as Toronto had most of the possession early in this one, but that doesn't mean that it created a lot of chances because neither of these teams really kind of capitalized. In fact, it was a slow start to this game as the shots were only 1-0 in favor of Vancouver after 15 minutes into this game. Bono then denied goal from 5 yards out as the first real chance for Toronto came after oh god, I literally forgot to put the name of this. I think it was Pozuelo, the one that missed wide from long range. I don't know why I put Heat on there. But in the 34th minute, a penalty was given to Toronto after VAR deemed that Veselinovic handball this one in the box. And yeah, it was pretty clear that this, of course, is a handball. And that if you're a Rapids fan watching this, yeah, you must be absolutely fuming the fact that if that was a handball, then it's pretty clear that that handball on Nathan should have been called. And, you know, I already discussed a lot about that on my review that I did earlier this morning. And you know, if you're a Rapids fan that's still gonna be trying to take that out of frustration, you can maybe just watch that video again. But yeah, you know, this was again one that it was pretty clear that it was a handball in the box. But you know, TFC weren't able to capitalize because Hasal was able to deny Pozuelo from 12 yards out. It was not a good penalty from Pozuelo. I mean, Pozuelo being one of the best penalty kick taker in the league, it was kind of a surprise that he put such a poor penalty that, you know, Thomas Hasal just guessed it the right way and he easily made a save on that one. Though Brown had a one-hopper that goes straight to Bono, and, you know, the action definitely picked up for both team after a slow start to this game. Bono denied Caicedo in the near post before Nelson puts it wide from 5 yards out, and we head to halftime scoreless between both of these Canadian teams. Now in the second half, Goal had a looping header, and it was kind of awkward for Bono because he didn't know whether or not that was going to loop over his head or is that going to go high. So, you know, when that happened, usually goalkeeper just kind of tipped this one over, and he kind of did that. But as he tipped this one over, he actually tipped it onto the post and kind of had to juggle into it because it looked like he tipped it onto the post and then it just kind of bounced out. And that, you know, he was very fortunate that that didn't happen because if that happened, yeah, that would not be a great moment for Alex Bono there. But in the 52nd minute, Kerr hits one straight to Hasal, and once again, both teams having some half chances in the beginning of the second half, but that would later change because the Whitecaps would start to press for the opening goal. White put one just wide on the header before Dahome flashed one high from long range. Whitecaps was definitely gaining the momentum and was pushing for the opener. And then this is where we get the controversy. So in the 65th minute, Nelson basically puts it into the back of the net, but the goal was disallowed because apparently there was a foul in the box. And what happened here was that, oh god, I forgot what was the TFC player that did this, but it looked like he basically kicked Hasal in the face, and therefore that, of course, was a foul. But you can clearly see on this play that there was no way that TFC player basically connect Hasal in the face. In fact, it was more like Hasal just kind of being a little bit dramatic. And later on, Hasal actually had to be subbed off. What I thought originally was a head injury, which I thought that would just be ridiculous with the way that you play act, and yet you now pretend that you need to be subbed off for that. But later I found out it was actually a hand injury, as you know, as he was kind of diving to make that save, he did land it on his hand awkwardly. But what's kind of bizarre is the fact that even though you can clearly see that he hurt his hand here. Originally, when he landed awkwardly, he didn't have that reaction. But then when he looked like he was gonna get kicked, that's when he got the reaction, like he got hurt by someone. I mean, I'm not sure that's how it works in terms of, if you land it awkwardly in your hand and then all of a sudden after 5 seconds you just scream in pain, because yeah, it was pretty clear that he acted a little bit, because there was no way in the world that TFC player was able, when he he did try to toe poke this one, and there was, though, when you look on the replay, it looked like he kind of connect Hassel. That was not the case. I mean, that clearly should have been overlooked. In fact, Steve Caldwell mentioned a couple of times that looked like it was pretty clear that it should have been overturned, but it wasn't. They didn't go to VAR for this, and as I mentioned, Hassel had to be subbed off because of an injury, and that Cody Cropper, of course, comes in, and he had to get into action quickly, because in the 71st minute, he had to make a save on Perusa's shot from close range, and TFC, they were getting some traction here in the second half for the first time. Well, I wouldn't say the first time, but maybe after they kind of was dominated or getting dominated by Vancouver, at least for the last 20 minutes before that controversial call. They started to kind of get into this game, realizing that, yeah, they're going to be against the ref in this game. They need to, of course, somehow put a legit go in, so that they can just say, not only we got 3 points, but we also beat the ref in this one. Though Cavallini did fire it wide from long range, and as time winds down, there was no doubt Vancouver was the one that was pushing for the late winner, and the Whitecaps would get that late winner, as Tosan Ricketts, the former TFC man, scoring from Cavallini and goal to make it 1-0 in favor of the Whitecaps. And originally, there was definitely a sign that this could have been offside, but, when you look on the replay, it is very close. Like, it seems like Ricketts just stayed behind the ball here, and therefore that, of course, is not an offside call. And even if they look at it, I don't think they had definitive evidence to overturn that one. Though, again, we've seen it before, where even when there's time when you see a play that doesn't have definitive evidence, VAR basically they overturn it. So, I'm pretty sure all those Whitecaps fans and even those Whitecaps players were just praying that this does not go to VAR, especially with how there's already controversy in this game too. And thankfully for them, it didn't go to VAR. But to the disgust of TFC, they're probably not only frustrated with the blown call, but they will probably question, yeah, why didn't they go to VAR for that? I mean, that's too close to just say that it's a good goal, especially how that pretty much decided the winning goal of this game. Though in the fourth minute stoppage time, Cavallini trying to make sure that the Whitecaps walk away with 3 points, but unfortunately he puts a weak shot straight to Bono. But it didn't matter, because the Vancouver Whitecaps, in controversial fashion, win 1-0 against TFC, and the shots in this one, 15 shots compared to 9 that TFC had, 6 shots on goal compared to 4 that TFC had, 6 shots off target compared to 3 that TFC had, 8 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that TFC, or actually, no, I'm sorry, 3 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that TFC had, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that the Whitecaps has in this game. And like what I said about that Quakes versus Colorado game, I know the visiting team is going to be very upset about this result, but when you look at how this game played, if you just not look at that controversial call, I mean, it was kind of a game where there was some back and forth, and I would say maybe the Whitecaps were slightly the better team, and in the end, they get a result here, get a huge 3 points, only their second win of the season, and I'm not quite sure if that second win of the season means that they're now off the Western Conference. I might be wrong though, but I might have to check the standings, because I'm doing this review right after when this game just finished. Which, speaking of which, or actually, let's actually get to this game last. Let's talk about the next one, which is Nashville SC versus RSL. So history was made in this game, as Nashville SC gets their first ever win at their new stadium, Geodis Park, against RSL. And really, this was a game where Nashville kind of had to be patient. I'll finally get the breakthrough. I mean, they really threw the kitchen sink throughout most of the game, and it seems like RSL, and especially for Pablo Mastroeni, it seems like the game plan was just try to bunker and hope to get a 0-0 result, and we've seen sometimes that, of course, work out, but most of the time it doesn't really work out, and it definitely did not work out in this one. Though early on, Mukhtar hits one straight to McMath. I thought Mukhtar had a good game and was very unlucky not to score here, or score in in this game. Nashville was definitely on the front foot early. Mukhtar hits a 22-yard free kick straight to McMath. It wasn't a great wall there from RSL. I mean, the fact that Mukhtar was able to hit that one from that short distance, and I feel like that ball kind of did split the gap a little bit. Yeah, you're gonna have to kind of question that wall by RSL that was set up to try to prevent that one from going in. But McMath did deny Mukhtar again from close range. It was all Nashville in this one. But, RSL, they were holding firm at 0-0 despite being absolutely dominant in this game. In fact, they would hold that scoreline at least until the end of the first half as we head to halftime scoreless in this one. Now, in the second half, McCarty flashed one wide from close range before Mukhtar once again hits one straight to McMath. McMath then denied Mukhtar in the 53rd minute, and you're just thinking, if you're Nashville, as much as they're piling the pressure and look for the first, are they going to be running another hot goalkeeper in Zach McMath that has really started to become a very, very underrated goalkeeper? Like, I don't think a lot of people have given McMath enough credit of what he has done, and he really kind of now stole the job away from David Ochoa, who, I don't know what exactly is the status of Ochoa and whether or not if he is 100% fit. And if he is actually 100% fit, I think there's a reason why RSL is not going back to their number one netminder. I mean, we've seen before when you have a goalkeeper that is on a hot streak, even a backup goalkeeper going on a hot streak, coaches don't tend to just switch back to their number one just like that. In fact, I feel like we've seen it more nowadays. I mean, a great example is Minnesota when Dane Sinclair comes in for Tyler Miller. Dane Sinclair kind of caught some fire, and now he's the starting goalkeeper for Minnesota, and even for Cincinnati too. Alec Kahn, he did relatively well, but he went down with an injury, and in comes Roman Celentano, and Celentano looks like now is going to be the starter for Cincinnati. So I feel like for McMath, he's probably going to be the one that is going to get that job until if RSL does have a drop of form, or at least McMath not performing the way it is, or maybe McMath does get injured and maybe Ochoa does get his job back after that. But we move on into the 58th minute, which Sapon heads it wide. Though in the 63rd minute, the breakthrough finally happened. It's Romney, the one that scored to give Nashville a 1-0 lead. Though that lead looked like it was short-lived in the 67th minute, as Herrera had a rare opportunity for RSL, but he hits this one straight to Willis. Though in the 82nd minute, Mukhtar went through on goal, but he just missed wide from 10 yards out. I mean, that's one that Honey Mukhtar, you expect a guy that has considered to be an MVP candidate last year would finish. And I think that's kind of what's missing in his game this year, where there's been times that he has had a lot of chances, but he just could not show that clinical finish like he has shown last season. And I also kind of wrote, will these missed chances come back to haunt Nashville? Because despite the fact that RSL is getting absolutely dominated, we have seen before this week where even when teams dominate the other team, it doesn't take much for the other team to just get one back, and all of a sudden the game is all tied up. But thankfully for Nashville, that is not the case, because they would kill the game off in the second minute of stoppage time, as CJ Sapon scored from Lucas Hackinson here to make it 2-0 in favor of RSL, or not 2-0 against in favor of RSL, 2-0 in favor of Nashville here. And yeah, that, as it said, that of course is the final score in the shots in this one. 21 shots for the 6 that RSL had, 10 shots on goal compared to 2 that RSL had, 7 shots off target compared to 3 that RSL had, 4 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that RSL had, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that RSL has. And yeah, it was a relatively great performance by Nashville in this one, even though the fans that was attending in this game, which was a good crowd. I mean, yes, there was a couple of empty seats in the stadium, but it was still a relatively good crowd. And that when you build a 30,000 seat stadium and you're able to still fill it up almost to the maximum, it is definitely considered very good. Now moving on, in terms of last match of today, oh, excuse me there. In fact, I'll probably get some water here. Gonna cough a little right there. But anyway, moving on into the last game, and the game that just finished a couple of minutes ago. is Austin versus LA Galaxy. So this was really the litmus test for Austin, and unfortunately, they failed the litmus test. And that this is probably a game that I know Austin fans have been demanding respect, and that they want the media to give them credit. But yeah, after this performance, it's kind of hard to give them credit, and that I'm not gonna just say still that they only are decent this season because they've been taking advantage of an easy schedule, which yes, for the most part they've been playing against easy team, but that's kind of what you need to do, because we've seen before where even the best team in the league, they have trouble in terms of beating some easy team because they overlook them, and at least Austin is doing a good job in terms of not overlooking them and have been taking care of business. But you just feel like for Austin, they just need a statement win, and this was a big opportunity to do so, and they failed to do it because the Galaxy were able to win this one 1-0, and really the only goal score was happening in the 6th minute when Delgado decided that he's going to take a drive from about 30 yards out, and it basically hits off the post and in. I mean, that is definitely goal of the week question mark kind of material there from Marquis Delgado, or Mark Delgado, because I know he said before he does not want to be called Marquis like it used to be when he was with TFC. And also I think that's his first goal for the Galaxy too. I mean, I don't remember he actually have scored a goal for the Galaxy. I mean, I know he scored a couple of goals for Toronto FC, but I don't think he ever has for the Galaxy. I might be wrong though, but most certainly that gives the Galaxy a 1-0 lead. Though I thought Austin did respond well, and they were kind of raising the tempo to try to get the equalizer. Gallagher blast one into the stands. Though I will also say that the defending from Austin has been very suspect, with just some bad turnover in their own half. In fact, I would say that throughout this game, it was a very sloppy game for both teams. Like, there was some bad turnover from both teams, not just from the defense, but also from the goalkeeping too, and especially from the Galaxy point of view, where there was a couple of times that, as much as Bond makes some good save in this one, there's a couple of times he just literally gives the ball away to the opposition. And we've seen before, when you're a goalkeeper and you gave the ball away in the middle of the park, yeah, you are definitely going to be punished because of that. And Austin just weren't able to do so in this one. But in the 16th minute, Fagundes did head one just wide before, on the other end, Costa fired one high from 21 yards out. Jerussi then fired one over the bar. Jerussi was very quiet in the first half, and I think they mentioned in the broadcast, especially from Stu Holden, he mentioned the fact that it was kind of surprising Jerussi wasn't in this game a lot. In fact, he only had like 10 touches in the first 30 minutes of the game. And if you're going to get a guy that many have considered to be MVP candidate and is your heart and soul of this team, you need to get him more involved. Just the 10 touches in this one. In fact, if Ethan Finley gets more action than Sebastian Jerussi in this game, you know that there's something wrong with the Austin attack, and there was a lot of things that went wrong for this Austin attack throughout this game. Now, there was a hydration break during this game as the temperature was in the mid-90s in Austin. In fact, they actually pushed the kickoff time about 10 minutes to the original schedule, which I don't know if that has anything to do with the Heat. I mean, if it has something to do with the Heat, I would expect they should just push this back to a night game. I mean, this game probably should have kicked off around 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and I know the East Coast people is not going to be happy, especially what happened in yesterday's game between the Union and the Revs, but we're talking about 90-degree heat in Austin. I mean, it's getting to that time of the period where it is just impossible to play day games in Texas anymore. And again, I'm kind of surprised that, I know this game, of course, was a night game, but for majority of it was played under sunlight, and we definitely saw in part of this game, there was that sun that was going through parts of the pitch, and yeah, I mean, it does also kind of create some problem in terms of viewing, because that shadow was just very weird as it goes throughout the day. Now, as I mentioned, there was a lot of sloppy turnover for both defense, but neither of these teams was able to capitalize because of those sloppy turnover. And I thought the pace did look slow because, when you have 90-degree heat like what we do, even when we just had a hydration break, you know that the players are going to be a little bit dead-legged. Though in the third minute of stoppage time, Chicharito had a prime opportunity to make this one 2-0, and he knows that he should have scored this one too because he placed this sitter from about 4 yards out high. Like this, that was the dream goal for Chicharito. A poacher like him, this is exactly what he does, and when he is definitely on fire, he always put those one away. But unfortunately, Chicharito is not in form right now. I mean, this is now 4 straight games that Chicharito has not been able to find the back of the net, and that has to be concerned if you're the Galaxy, especially as I mentioned, this team is fully built on Chicharito as their main staple of their offense, and with the way that they're not scoring goals right now, and I know they did score one in this one, but you can clearly see the reason why they weren't able to stretch this one out is because nobody on this team can able to put the ball in the back of the net, and they just kind of had to rely on a Delgado golazo, which that is not going to be something that is sustainable for this team if they're going to look those chances to create offense is going to go. So we do head to halftime with the Galaxy leading 1-0, and in the second half, Urruti hits one straight to Bond from 6 yards out. Again, a lot of possession early for Austin, but besides that one good look that they had in the 48th minute, I thought they haven't really had a lot of good looks in front of goal, and a lot of that will be something I'll explain later again, where they just look really slow on the attack. Like they look very flat on the attack. They weren't moving the ball very, very fastly. They were allowing the Galaxy to get in the defensive shape. And as much as I know in years past I have been kind of mocking the Galaxy defense being trash and stuff, this year they actually have done very well. I mean, the only thing that the Galaxy defense maybe still needs to work on is defending set pieces, because they mentioned throughout this broadcast that they have conceded the most goal in the set piece. But when it doesn't come to set piece, they actually have done a very good job defensively this year, which that has to be great news for Galaxy fan, because I'm pretty sure they're tired of hearing the same thing about how their defense is the reason why it has let this team down years and years. But in the 57th minute, Urruti would skies one into the stands, and then Lima basically fired one wide from long range, and I immediately wrote, this looked like Austin's first season. Because remember when Austin's first season, where even though they put up a lot of shots in games, a lot of them just kind of came off target. Like they was just shooting from everywhere it doesn't go in, and they tend to love to shoot from outside the box, which, it's great that you at least try to shoot from outside the box and be a little bit more adventurous. But there's also that, and there's times when you just don't need to take those shots. Like you need to take some high percentage shots in the box. There's the reason why there are some teams that decided to work it around and maybe find a perfect ball into the box, because they don't want to take those low percentage shot outside the box. And that was kind of one of the things that I think maybe is the reason why Austin struggled to score goals, because they were taking way too many low percentage shot. And here we go again. Like this game, it feels like it's that all. It happened all over again, where they're just taking low percentage shot, and unsurprisingly, none of them came close. Though one of them did came close in the 59th minute, as Bond had to deny Jerussi from long range. And again, Austin, I thought they continued to have problem in the final third, either moving the ball too slowly or choosing the wrong attacking option. Though the Q2 crowd definitely were trying to will their team. Like so many times we've seen teams having a bad stretch and the crowd kind of become a little restless. And there were times that I did feel like that Q2 crowd was a little bit restless there, but they were trying their best. I mean, that supporter section, they were definitely vibing, doing their usual thing. But even the general section crowd, like every time when Austin had a good opportunity, you can definitely feel the energy, and it feels like Austin maybe can use that 12th man to try to get them the equalizer. Pereira then had a header that was actually blocked by his own teammate, who was in an offside position. I think it was Fagundes, the one that blocked that one. And yeah, Fagundes definitely apologized to Pereira after this, because if he didn't get in the way, that probably should have been 1-1 in this one. Rain then fired one high from long range before in the 89th minute. The closest Austin came of scoring a goal was Jerussi striking the post on the free kick. Again, I gotta question the wall that was set up by the team that is facing this free kick, because the wall here that the Galaxy set in was not very good, and allowed Jerussi to pretty much bend in from a tight angle and still able to almost find it on target. Tarbell then denied Grandsir, who was through on goal and had a chance to put this one away. And then Houston decided to kind of backheel one in the back post, but he missed that one wide. And then in the latter part, as Austin was trying to push for the equalizer, the Galaxy actually had a couple of times to kill this game off. Joveljic tried to chip Tarbell from 50 yards out, but that one goes just high. So Joveljic was trying to do a Sebastian Ferrer right there, but it didn't quite work out. And I will say that it was actually pretty close. Like, it was maybe, if that one was hit about 5 more yards, that one probably would have went into the back of net, because you can clearly see Tarbell was finding the same situation that Brad Stuver found himself in last week against, or is it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week, where he basically had to backtrack and then just see one looping over his head, and again, Tarbell almost suffered that same fate that Stuver did. Before Grandsir just pulls it wide from close range in the 4th minute stoppage time, but despite the wasteful opportunity that the Galaxy had to put this one away, it does not come back to haunt them, because they do hold on to win 1-0 in this one against Austin. And the shots in this one, 13 shots per the 9 that the Galaxy had, 3 shots on goal per the 2 that Austin has, 4 shots off target per the 10 that Austin has, 2 shots that was blocked per the 1 that Austin has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that the Galaxy has in this game. And yeah, for the Galaxy, a much needed win, consider how things have been going for them. And that, I still feel like right now they're still having that same issue where they don't get Chicharito going. This team is not going anywhere on the attack, because this attack, which used to be their strength for many years, is really struggling right now. And it's surprising to say that their defense is kind of the only reason why it has kept them from getting a big win in this one. But for Austin FC, like I said, this was a huge missed opportunity for them to show the rest of the league that they are for real, and that they are a team that can compete for the best. And now they're gonna have to wait, and that I know they're gonna be playing against LAFC very soon, though that game of course is on the road, which is going to be tough. But they're gonna have to wait for another opportunity to able to face against a tough team and get a win, because I feel like the way that maybe the media will respect Austin FC is that if they can beat one of those big boys in the Western Conference, or even in the Eastern Conference, to kind of send a message to the rest of the league. But right now they still aren't able to do so, after they weren't able to really do anything throughout this game against the Galaxy. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of all 3 of these games. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this review and all the 3 games that happened today. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.